Hello.
Hi there.
All right, we are ready to start. Thank you for coming on board, Radha.
Thank you for having me.
Well, folks, as I was saying, we've got a very special guest, my friend Radha. She is an intuitive teacher, international coach, a forward-thinking leader, author, and motivational speaker on feminine empowerment. As the founder of Goddess Academy, a mystical school for the divine feminine. Her mission and vision of serving women through holistic education and empowerment. Radha leads online programs, international retreats, and goddess activations training, as well as the Divine Masculine program for men. You can visit her website, www.goddesscodeacademy.com. Wow, we have such a special guest. So thank you for joining us, Radha. We are so excited having you on board, and we're going to be talking about past lives.
Ooh, my favorite subject.
Yeah, yeah, it's healing the past in your lineage. Wow, we're going to really dive into this quickly. You know, let's introduce past life discussions. Like, I remember from my experience that it was some sort of a taboo, something supernatural. What beliefs have you encountered when you talk about past lives?
I think some people have a hard time wrapping their head around it, but in the work that I do, I've been trained to do past life regressions and past life healing simply because what I've learned and what I found is that so much of our current situation or current blocks and issues, or even people we encounter in this lifetime that are our quote unquote enemies or our best friends, it's really tied into the past lives. So there may be taboos around it, but that's just when people are really closed minded and they can't really open to receive new information. There's a lot of taboos on a lot of things because there's a lot of people that don't want you to have your mind open. And you have to understand, like, it's your duty as a human to explore, so that you can learn the most that you can and advance the most you can in this lifetime. Because each lifetime, we are here to advance forward, and we're also here to clean up the messes of our past, or to learn the lessons that we were supposed to learn. So our past is really tied in, and as far as my clients, like I have clients from all walks of life, from lawyers to actors to doctors. All walks of life, right? Authors like you, um, and really surprisingly, most people all people that come to me are extremely open-minded. The reason being is because they've tried just about everything, and a lot of things didn't work. And so, past life is really getting to the root of some core issues that carry over from previous lifetimes.
That's so true. 'Cause I remember when I was growing up that it was like there was just something inside of me that I felt was affecting me. I would have these memories from the past, and until I met you and had these sessions with you about clearing and letting go of past stuff and even like the entities and which you'll dive into later. But
Mhm.
yes, like how do you heal that? Like what is, like, for example, like what is past life regression, and how can, like, when I was going through mine, like what were you employing?
Absolutely. Well, I've been trained in multiple modalities. I have over a dozen that I'm trained in. I come from a shamanic lineage, but I also apply many techniques, such as going into the Akashic records, which is one of the most incredible healing modalities and techniques. The Akashic records are records that are held, in higher than just the universe. It's quite the quantum library where all information is kept about every single being, plant, animal, and human, and including all the planets in their evolution, because we are all moving through an evolutionary process. So even a plant can evolve. Everything is sentient. Everything has a sentient. So a rock can be a rock for 1,000 years and evolve. We're all evolving, And sometimes, to be a human is such an incredible privilege that I don't think we can really wrap our heads around. Like, you
Mm.
have to move up the process, that it's like you have to evolve, and then you become a human, and to be a human is a privilege, and it's one of those privileges that you want to honor, those that are still evolving, because we're still evolving too. It's not that we finally arrived, but being a human, we get so much opportunity. We have a voice, we can talk, we can
Mhm.
walk, we can do a lot of things. We can think outside of the box. We can create solutions to problems instead of creating problems. And so, you know, the Akashic Records is the most incredible place. So you and I, we've worked, we've had many sessions throughout the years, but the Akashic Records is a place that we go. When we went last time, I went to the Akashic Records, right? So
Yes.
I opened up your Akashic Record library. Of course, it's an infinite library. You've had so many lifetimes, and as an Akashic reader, I'm not going to go in and read all your stuff, and I'm definitely not going to go through your private stuff. We're going to go straight to the point where the healing, what ties into your healing in this now moment. So the cool thing about the Akashic records is that if there's something, a pattern coming up, an energy pattern, and I asked to look at the records to see what's there, if there's a past life, if what's going on, um, the the keepers of the Akashic record will hand me a book, right? So I'm not privy
Hmm.
to everything. Akashic readers don't just go through all your files. They're only privy to what's going to move you forward. Okay?
Yeah.
So we get a select information that's pertaining to whatever you're going through. Um, and so from there, then I can ask that we get the lesson, that we want to download the lesson, so we can have a lifetime but still not learn the lesson. And that's the really tricky part. If you're not learning the lesson, you can quote unquote win at life but still go back and have to do it again,
Hmm.
because yeah, you quote unquote won at life, but you didn't really learn your lesson. So guess what? You're going back to round one. So it's not everything is what it seems. Just because something's super shiny and glossy on the outside, it doesn't mean you're not going to have to go back to square one next round. And so we want to learn the lessons that we were supposed to learn. And many of us, and I say many of us, including myself and so many clients, like as I do this, looking into the past life, I realize that the lessons were not always marked as complete. Interesting, right?
Hmm.
So through the death process, we go through review, and then we get to see our life as a movie. And not only as a movie, it's quite interactive. We get to play the role of the people opposite of us. So we get to play the role of everybody. It's almost like the uh, ultimate experience, because you're getting to feel other people's feelings and how you affected them. But sometimes in that process, we don't mark things as complete because we feel like we needed to learn it, or the souls sometimes can forget. So we want to go back in to the records, mark it as complete, download the lesson, and then see what it is that we needed to learn. And then that's closure. That's what closure is. It's people are afraid, like they say, don't look back, don't go back. Well, you have to go back if you want to move forward. You have to, because sometimes we're stuck in a past life. We're stuck in a
That.
repetitive pattern, right?
Hmm. Like we get stuck in this kind of like a Groundhog Day repetition of lessons, and we're like trying to figure out. We keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. And like for my particular example, I was like, there's just something that's always like coming to like to remind me about something I remember. So when we did our, like our session yesterday about, was it yesterday or the other day? I think it was the other day when we were, I think it was yesterday. See, I forget, but the exciting part about when we did my session was like how I remember what I was remembering was there was something just holding me back. And what was so surreal was when we went back into my Akashic records, was that my memory of me in a past life, two past lives actually happening at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
like one was like, remember, I was like I was a Spanish missionary priest, and then on the other
I
side,
remember.
my past life was as a native Indian in South America,
Mm-hmm.
uh, king. And there's just
Mm-hmm.
a parallel wherein, okay, there's this devotion of this Spanish missionary priest, that what he totally believed in, what I totally believed in, was that
Mm-hmm.
that religion and the church was doing a good thing for for the world and for humanity. And then just to be disappointed because here I am as a priest, and I'm you know uh, Christianizing these natives, and then to find out later on that I lead them towards their death because the government and government at the time, the colonizers, the Spanish, the
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese, the French, the English, they didn't, they were just using the religion as a tool to one, enslave the people, two,
Mm-hmm.
get their resources, and really
Mm-hmm.
power play. So it ended with me, as a priest, also because I got so disillusioned.
Mm-hmm.
I went against the church, and then I got punished, yeah, meaning like
You got persecuted,
persecuted.
you know? And yeah, and that cellular trauma, it doesn't just go away. See, that's the thing people don't understand, and that I didn't even know before I started doing this, is that the cellular memory sticks with you even if you transition into a new body.
Hmm.
Isn't that fascinating? Like, we remember the terror and the fears that we experienced in a past life.
Yes.
So, for example, if I had a client and that like died in a plane crash in the past life, but it was not just a regular. It was like they were in Japan, and they were like, it was like a suicide mission or something, and they basically had to crash into something and then die. And then this lifetime they were afraid of flying, um, so clearing cellular memory, because it sometimes if there's no practicality, like it won't make sense to your practical mind. That's why the mind is an important tool, but it's not everything. It's not everything, because it is, but it isn't. Because if you just think, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense, it's not practical. Well, then you're bypassing a really important thing, because you have to find out where the root came from. It's like that's what scientists do, right?
Hmm.
Scientists, they find out what the root of this is, where it came from, how they can recreate it, or how they can create something new. You know what I mean? And we have to be sort of like, think a little bit like scientists in our own life, because no one's going to think for you. You have to be a little bit more expansive in your thoughts.
That.
Because there are solutions that are available to people, but if they could only think, just expand a little bit with their consciousness, and maybe be willing to try something new. But you have to understand, the fear program has been installed so deeply into humans, and especially about religion. That's more taboo. So if you're hyper religious, then you're not allowed to explore, because
Yeah, there's the program of fear. I mean,
exactly.
until we met, I couldn't really approach the subject, because it was like an itch I couldn't scratch until,
Hmm.
through all the sessions that we've had, it opened my mind up, not just my mind, but my soul up, to really start asking these questions. Okay, I want the truth. I want myself to be free. So
Hmm. And it's so beautiful, and that's it's such a great it's such a great joy to work with you, because you're one of those people that's like, let's jump in. And I think that's why you have had such great results. When people are open to do this work, then they get the best results. um and so how did you feel after we cleared that, or cleared that lifetime, we cleared the trauma, we downloaded the lesson to you so that you could learn it? How did you
mhm.
feel afterwards?
it's like having a big weight off my back, neck, and shoulders. Because like I remember the last few weeks, I was just feeling like there was just like this tightness, there was this heaviness, and I just couldn't place it. I said, "Well, I work out, I do stretching. Well, it's more than that." So immediately after the session, I just went, walk around the park, and it was grounding. I was downloading more stuff. Uh, I felt this lightness of being, and that I had learned that lesson from the past life, and that I was no longer tied down to it. And
Mm-hmm.
but the funny thing is, like, this is just like I guess you would call it like the final nail in the box was
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded the movie. I don't know what compelled me to download the movie on Amazon Prime, the movie The Mission. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that from 1986, and it just was the perfect scenario of what I was experiencing
Mm.
after I watched that movie. And I was like, okay, thank you for the lesson. I let you go in peace, and love, and thank you for the lesson. And I put it in the archive. So finishing that movie was um, like perfect way to finish, what we had done in the session. It was like,
Mm.
okay, this particular book, this chapter, it is done. I'm moving forward, and let's do this. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
experience I had from that, and now I'm like, wow, I slept like a log the last couple of nights.
It's incredible. But see, that's how it is. When we're ready to heal, we're gonna get everything that we need. And you were committed to that breakthrough. And so, that movie came to your consciousness because it was also part of you, part of expressing part of that past life, right? Like in a
Mhm.
way there we have to honor it. We don't throw away like, oh, it was worthless or this was a bad one. There's something to be learned in every life, in every experience. And we don't throw them away. We want to honor them so that we can move forward. And then there's a great deal of forgiveness. That's why I work so deeply with Kuan Yin, because I've learned, even through my own healing journey, that forgiveness is the most important part of completing the process. Because, you know, um, if we don't do the forgiveness work, and especially for ourselves, like, why did I choose to do that in that lifetime? Or, why would I want to go through that? Then we are we're sort of being held hostage karmically. So the moment that we can really forgive ourselves for that experience, and also our soul needing that experience and realizing that our soul came here to have experiences, then we can, it's almost like closing the chapter. That's a completion, right?
Yes.
It's like closing a tab on a computer that's been open forever. It's like when you can forgive ourselves, um, and every single person, we've all been on every side of the game. You know what I mean? We play both. We could play one role in one lifetime and play the other role, the villain in the next. The victim or then the villain. And so because we wanted to know how it feels. But I think where we are now with humanity and where we are now in our evolution is that we're trying to wrap things up. Most of us are trying to wrap things up. Like, okay, um,
That's the feeling. Yeah.
like many, well, the people I work with, they're advanced, so they've had many, many, many lifetimes, and they're advanced souls, um, and they're ready to wrap it up. They're like, okay, I want to start cleaning it up because they know on a soul level that this lifetime is being used for an advancement, that we have this great like frontier ahead of us, and that we need to really wrap things up, come to a completion, come to a healing, resolve issues that have been left way behind, and so that we can make that quantum leap into the future timeline that we're going into. So being in the now is really being sensitive to actually the past, present, future, parallel lifetime, and realizing that we coexist in all at once. Therefore, we want to really keep it pristine so that we can move forward, can get the new downloads that are coming in. We can ascend with our body, mind, and soul, and receive this whole new energy that's coming in, because it's important to wrap it up so that we can receive the new energy that's coming in that is available to us. It's different than any of the energy that we've had in the past, okay?
And that's you have to let go and let go of the stuff that no, that you can't use really anymore, so that it leaves room for, like you said, this energy, this powerful, amazing energy to come in. But you have to let go of things, right?
You have to. And so that means we're going to have to forgive our worst arch enemies, from the past lifetime that may be an antagonist, maybe antagonist right now. Or, we just need to start closing things down and then just creating space inside of ourselves. And that's really, really what I do with my clients. And as you know, like we're creating more sacred space so that the light can come in, the new energy can come in, and it's a new template. We're not really accustomed to this energy yet. We will be, but we have to do everything in our power that we can to make room so that we can adjust, as these vibrations are quite high, and they can feel a little dizzying. You can feel fatigue. Might get sore. Your body's like unusually sore. You might get headaches. There's a lot of symptoms that come with this new energy coming in, because it is quite literally an expansion, of consciousness, but then also on a cellular level, we're making room for something that is vibrating at a very different frequency than what we are used to and what we've had so much pain in the past. Like I don't think any of us have gone through past lifetimes where we haven't been either tortured or doing the torturing or some horrible thing that's
Oh my
that's
gosh.
going on, because these wars have been going on for eternity. Understand that we come from a world where we have had wars. Yes, it is a beautiful world and it's transitioning to becoming a peaceful world, but we have been through the dark realm, the darkness. It has been the dark night of the soul for this world for quite a long time, but you know, um, the universe is capturing back this world, bringing back the light, and as I had, I haven't really shared much of this because I do channelings, but I do them in private and I don't really share them, but I get a lot of information that comes in, and one of the things that is like about the virus, we've sort of been we've been contaminated, by this dark matter virus, and it really has come through everything, through the computer, through the technology, AI, and it's a contaminant, and it causes, it's been causing a lot of this dark pain that we've been feeling, and we're purging from that. We don't want that anymore. We're done. That game is over, played out. Everyone's tired of it. We don't want war. We don't want violence. We want peace and happiness, clean air, clean food. We want to be, at peace in our life so that we can do beautiful things, have beautiful families, have beautiful, opportunities, and we want to be more connected with nature and build a life that has more meaning, don't you think? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, we want to be more connected to everything.
And I totally can relate to that, especially now, like when you say about these times, and the fact that you were speaking earlier about Kuan Yin, and how she can really help, people. So tell our listeners more about what you do with Kuan Yin, especially this course and this new book that I just got from you, and it's like, this is what people need in order to be able to heal, move forward from the past.
Yeah, I work with the love and goddesses, as you know, and I've been working with the goddesses for quite some time. I created the goddess activations healing modality. But Kuan Yin is sort of, she's like, she comes to everyone that I work with, because we need to bring in this new sentient energy, and it's much different. It's very soft, very loving, but also very powerful. You can have both the soft feminine and also the powerful energy, and Kuan Yin is a Bodhisattva, an ascended master who was a human being, um, who studied with Buddha actually and ascended to the higher realm. But she actually started off as a man, but then she was trying to hold space for humanity, um, as his higher self, and he exploded, like they say, exploded into 1,000 pieces, and then came back as the feminine, because the feminine could hold that space for transformation, that nurturing, loving energy. And so Kuan Yin also represents huge transformation. Even when you break, putting back the pieces together, in a more beautiful way. But Kuan Yin really helps my clients to connect back with their heart chakra, to connect back to the beauty of their soul, to innocence. Innocence is so important. We want to come back to innocence. This world is so filled with so much crude, and we don't want to feed that monster. There's a monster out there. You don't want to keep feeding that. You have to choose to feed the sentient part of yourself. Start nurturing and nourishing that soft, sentient, beautiful part of yourself, the part that's connected to your heart and your soul. And Kuan Yin, I have a book, and it really walks you through many different, so there's 6 gateways, and each one of them brings you closer. It's really about bringing you closer to your own divinity, that more than anything else. Kuan Yin is a guide to help you get there, because she will love you unconditionally, no matter what you did. There could be nothing that you've done that she wouldn't love you, because she knows that we're on the evolutionary path and that we make mistakes. We are humans, We're not supposed to be quote unquote perfect. We haven't ascended. Listen, if we were already perfect, we'd be ascended angels floating, in another
Around
dimension.
here, having
Yeah, we'd be long gone. Okay, so we're here because this is preschool. You know what I'm saying? This is like the lowest, dimension. So we're raising the vibration so we can bring the higher heaven on earth to, heaven to earth. And we want to upgrade our consciousness so that we don't have that small mindedness, so that we can be expansive and can be connected. Because it's kind of like, what do they say? Like, we use 3% of our brain,
yep,
Can you imagine? But you have to understand that emotional intelligence activates your consciousness. Emotional. And a lot of people in this world have been trained or learned to be numb. And so they don't feel. And if you don't feel, you can't heal. All
yes,
right. And if you can't feel, you can't heal, then you can't raise your
so
consciousness.
true. Especially when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to, like you said, the numbing of it, because we're so focused now on the logical aspect, which is, which I, we'll
Mm-hmm.
be discussing in another episode about logic is basically because of this imbalance between the masculine and the feminine energy. So, man, that's another deep subject we'll be we'll be covering in another
Yeah.
in another episode. But with the past lives, this Kuan Yin, this topic we're talking about, Kuan Yin, I think she definitely plays a key role in the healing of the past lives, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because we have to be gentle with ourselves and compassionate for all we've been through. Being a human and going through these lifetimes has not been easy for anyone. And it doesn't matter if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth or whatever, quote unquote position you have in life, because everyone has to go through these chapters. You don't get to miss any. You get to be a king in one lifetime, and then you get to be a pope in another lifetime, and then you get to be, we play every role. So it's not like it's not like, how do I describe it? Like, we're all just trading positions. It's like a big acting game, But the problem is that we collect trauma, okay, through the process, and releasing trauma is so important on a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual level, in the past, present, future, and parallel lifetimes, in all dimensions, even our lineage. And so we, even through our lineage, we carry 7 generations of hardcore trauma. And I would say you want to get that out of your system because your nervous system is carrying that and you want to let it go, right, Mike?
Mhm. I mean, that is just, you hit it right on the nail there, with that, because I know I was holding on to so much trauma and stuff that I couldn't figure out, what was going on inside of me. But it was all emotional gunk. It was all trauma that, I was allowing to from this lifetime, and then adding on to all those 7 other generations. People really need to get to heal from it, and I'm so glad that you're doing this work, and our listeners will really benefit from, being able to contact you. So, what's the best way to contact you? Just go to your website and,
Yep.
reach out to you, because, uh, as a personal testimonial, ladies and gentlemen, I've gone through the Kuan Yin, course, the program, and the Radha's modality and everything, and excluding this most recent past life regression. And I tell you, my life has been a complete 360 several times over the last few years, and it's an ongoing lesson. And I can't speak enough of how Radha has, she's the one that can help you, release the shock and trauma, and provide you with the tools and the support and the love necessary for that. So thank you so much, Radha, for that. And, do you have anything to share with our listeners, like what to look forward to when it comes to, with your future courses and books?
Oh yeah, there's so much to look forward to. I'm so excited. I have a series of these goddess activation workbooks that are coming out. I'm gonna reboot another Kuan Yin course and maybe even simultaneously might do Lakshmi because Lakshmi is really important right now so that we can tap into that abundance of this universe. Um, and then just finishing these books, and there's so much good that's going on right now. I'm really excited about the Divine Masculine program, and opening the doors to men. And I thank you, Mike, because you're such a brave warrior. It does take a brave man to do this work, and I totally commend you because you are one of the bravest that I've ever met. You come back to this work over and over again, and you're not afraid to go into those places that other men would run from. Um, but that's why you're seeing all of the breakthroughs that you're seeing because you're willing to do the work. And I want to encourage men to open your heart, open your mind to this. Mike, how would you tell men that they can step into this, that it's not scary, it's not going to hurt them, that it actually frees them up? How would you tell them?
I would tell them, guys, there is nothing to fear. What the process that, you're going to go through and learn from with Radha, like I have, it's just like self-imposed barriers, because it's just like we think in our minds and in our hearts that, like, for men, because we've been programmed that we can't feel, or we're
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to show emotion. We can, there is power in our vulnerability, and we,
Mm.
with the women who have been oppressed for thousands of years as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we as men, we don't like to talk about this stuff, but hey, let's bring it out to the open. Let's come on board with this program, and allow this feminine energy to work through you. It's beautiful. I'm a living proof of that. My life has been changed profoundly by it, in a positive manner, in mind, body, and spirit. So I encourage, every guy that is
Mm-hmm.
holding on to a lot of pain and trauma because they have no one to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You can reach out to Radha, and she can really help you a lot. And this Divine Masculine program that she was speaking about, I tell you, I'm in the midst of that right now, and it's taking me to further heights. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's healing. It's healing with, for a man, it is a beautiful feeling to have, and embrace it, accept it, claim it, and be balanced. That's really about it. It's about the, like the a balanced a life. We move forward with the with it. So, thank you so much, Radha, for for introducing these programs to the world. And I can't wait until we collaborate with more with more programs and workshops around the world and to share the light.
Yes.
So, guys and gals, you heard it first here today. We talked about past lives. We talked more about the Akashic records, and we talked about how Radha and her Goddess Code Academy can help women and men. Right? So there's no distinction, discrimination. Everyone is welcome. So thank you, Radha, for being a guest on here today. We look forward to having you again. But if there's one last word that you'd like to share, and before we go off the air.
Just thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I honor you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mike. You're such a living example. Such a brave warrior. Thank you for showing up for yourself and being such a shining example for everyone else. It's an honor to know